I have I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you have to do this.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
I have a confession to make. I had a chicken Caesar wrap today. When I was gone.
Okay.
I know. I thought I was pretending like I haven't eaten all day. I didn't know if you
I
thought
didn't really.
that.
Here's something about me that's a little bit different than you.
You don't take note of everything that people eat in a day.
I am not watching you competitively to see what you're eating in a day versus me. I don't think like that. I am really grateful that I don't think like that.
I don't think that I ever look at your food as like competing with you at all. I think I only look at what you intake during a day just to make sure that like you're gonna be able to sustain your life going forward. And that's not on me.
What if that's no longer the long-term goal?
That's not your goal, is to like sustain life,
No.
right? So you're kind of like that's just like
I feel like I am someone who's aging, like I'm a senior citizen who, has had a long life and they're kind of ready to go.
So would you say, and oh no, I can't. I'm not even gonna say the word hospice.
Andrew, that's
I'm sorry,
horrible.
That's horrible.
That's horrible.
I take it back.
Say.
I'm being so serious. I take
that's
that back.
Disgusting.
But would you say that you're like nearing nursing?
Yeah, I in my head I've already am in nursing home.
Okay.
Yeah.
It like
that freaks me out.
I know that freaks me out.
The way that it just removes autonomy in such a crazy way. And we've actually talked about this before, but it really does freak me out. My great aunt Connie fell, or no, she didn't even fall. Her legs are just like not the T, that they just like stop working randomly. And there's like nothing wrong with her, so it's like definitely it's more like a mental thing.
Yeah.
But she's just like stuck in the nursing home, and she's been living in Tribeca her whole life, and she's like, I just want to go back to my apartment, and she can't.
Oh, that's hard.
She literally can't because she cannot walk, like she can't move.
But you know what? Like when I think about a nursing home, sometimes I'm kind of like it's like you're back at college.
I guess she's not in a nursing home. She's in like a physical, like a therapy place.
Oh, they're like rehabilitation center.
That's what it is. Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
But
it's kind of like college
feeling.
again.
Yeah, except you're like
hall.
80 and like you literally like lived through hell. Like you made it. Like you made the active choice to be alive every day for your entire life and built your entire life, and now you're like in a home. I've always wanted to live in one of those senior developments
with a gorgeous pool and
I have
a beautiful
always
gym.
wanted to live in one of those senior developments.
Yeah.
Since I was an 8-year-old boy, I saw those developments, those condos with the gorgeous pools, the always empty gyms, the golf carts, the identical homes. I said to myself, I aspire to this life.
Something sexy about it. Like when I used to visit my nanny there, she had a gorgeous little home there.
And what about that was sexy to you?
It was like sexy that she was like living in like her own little space next to like her friends. She had her own personal parking spot. Like everything was basically taken care of. Like it was cute in there. It was like sexy. It was sexy. I mean, and I would bring over a semolina loaf, a seeded loaf with a fresh mutts.
Yeah.
And we would just go at it with the bread and the mutts.
Where was his home?
I miss those days. Bethpage. You know where it was, Joe?
Stop. Where?
Right across from that Mexican restaurant. You know the one that's off standing by itself.
The one that everyone loves?
Mangoes?
Yes, Mangoes.
Yeah.
Yes, across the street from Mangoes.
Yeah,
okay, my grandma once was at the Farmingdale one across the street from the Walgreens near Salzman East Memorial.
I remember that place that had a fountain. And I remember going to visit her with you.
And she turned that place just into her home.
Yeah.
She really made herself at home there.
That place wasn't necessarily my favorite.
No, I hated that one. No, that was not the tea. I'm talking more about like the ones like I don't even know. I don't know what your nannies looked like, but I'm imagining my mom's cousin lived in one. I think she probably still does. And I remember visiting, and it was like adults only. And I was like, this is the most gorgeous place I've ever been. And it was just a set of identical homes. I love those places.
In some ways, it's like I'm just in Desperate Housewives mode, but it is like it's your own Wisteria Lane. Like they're all just right next to each other. My nanny was talking shit about the neighbors.
I'm sure
she'd be like, no, I'm not even gonna say the things she would say, but like she would call them a triple B, big bottom bitch.
She was calling him a big bottom bitch.
I feel like,
and that's kind of you now.
That's kind of I'm the big bottom bitch. Yeah. So I am a big bottom bitch. You are so right. So it's kind of full circle. But I love when you can kind of get nasty about your neighbors.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say I don't think I'd want to grow old if I couldn't talk shit.
Yeah.
I think the part of the perk of it is that you get to really, really, really just get like pissed off. Mm-hmm. Pissed off.
Can you imagine this podcast when we're like 75? I know you're not gonna want to do it. I'm gonna sit like, well, I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Like, you don't know. I change every day. I change every day.
Maybe we'll come back, but I do think there is something that is gonna be really funny one day if people want to listen to two 75-year-old
queens. Yeah, just talking shit.
Just talking shit.
Saying back in my day, I had Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
You guys have no idea who you're dealing with. I watched those Grammys. I felt like that queen today. I really did. I really was. And no disrespect to so many talented artists. Mm-hmm. I really, really, really love the work of Chapel and Sabrina and Olivia Rodrigo and Gracie Abrams and that whole next generation of pop girls. I was just like, this is it. Where are my ladies?
Where are my girls?
Where are my girls?
Because I'm looking out in that audience and I'm seeing.
I felt 88 years old,
and I'm seeing Lady Gaga, and they're aging.
They are like the legacy acts, which is so crazy. Like I was like, this is like when I was a kid, I'd see them and be like, oh, that's like Madonna. Mm-hmm. Like that really, they are Madonna now. They are like the I don't know. It freaks me out.
But I mean, I'm sure we
worse than I am. Worse than right now. Imagine
worse that. When
I'm older.
As you age, Joe, worse by the year.
I know. I can't imagine it getting worse than this. I might change
in 10 years for the better.
For good.
I'm not putting it on me, but like I hope it's because I knew you, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking I would like get involved with like a green organization, like, and like really like I'm gonna say something. I don't want to be a marine biologist. I want to be a limnologist.
Oh, I was thinking like that was gonna be way behind us, and you were gonna say I was just joking, Andrew.
I want you to know. This is a podcast. This is not a podcast.
And I want you to
me.
know, Joe. I want you to know, like, regardless of any decision that you make in your life, if it was detrimental and harmful to you and to others, obviously I would cut that off. But I want to support you in any endeavor.
My limnology degree.
If you want to be a limnologist, whatever, I would need you to clarify and elaborate. But if you want to be a limnologist and that's what your life goal is, I'm really ball is in your court. Like I'm so excited for you to dribble it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And what a limnologist is well, I had this thought where I was like, wait, marine biology. Marine means ocean. I've been this whole time like focusing on freshwater fish. What if I don't want to study orca whales? You know what I mean? What if I don't want to do that? One. That's not funny. Enough with that shit.
Enough with that shit.
Enough with that shit.
It's what like goes 15? Right. I was just going to say
high school
goes right back to the fat Albert jokes.
The hey, it's fat Andrew. Breaks my heart.
Breaks my heart when you think about it.
Yeah, limnology is a study of freshwater ecosystems.
Okay.
And that just gets me going.
You never were good with salt.
Now what does that mean?
Salt water.
I've always enjoyed tide pools and still water vibes. I don't necessarily the ocean. It's just not my place to explore.
Say what you want. It freaks me out.
It freaks me out. It really
freaks me out. And you know what? Like the seaweed is enough for me to be like, I don't want to get anywhere near that water.
Yeah.
Tough.
I'm just realizing I was in Australia for 2 weeks. I didn't go in the ocean once.
Are you sick?
Don't make me feel any worse than I already do today. Don't, because that just actually ruined my whole day realizing that. I actually feel sick about that.
I'm going to move on from this, but you're going to tell me you were across the world in their summer
on the beach. And I didn't go in the ocean once.
So you were just like tanning and sweating and you said, I'm not even going to put my body under that water for a second.
I didn't do it once.
And you know what?
Andrew, I feel so horrible right now. I can't even think about it, please.
Well, it's because you were thinking about fresh water. You were thinking about freshwater.
I was being a limnologist.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing I almost went in was that fucking lake, the freshwater lake. And I said to myself, I'm better than this. I can't get an amoeba. I can't.
A leech. Can you imagine? Are there leeches in waters like that? Be serious.
Where are the leeches? I really know that we don't have a fan base large enough to do this for us. But if someone could go back and really, really, really clock every time we have the identical conversations that we have, like, and put it into one thing, it would be so important to me. There's leeches, yeah. Lachrymose leeches.
It really is like when we have a conversation, and it's not only just for the podcast. It's like I'm sure I say the same exact thing to people
all the time,
every single time I see them, and I don't even know. But it's
yes, the leeches on the penis. Remember the amoebas up the piss slit? We had this conversation.
Yeah, I know, but like
getaway cabin.
I think I was nervous with leeches. Most specifically because of a series of unfortunate events.
The lachrymose leeches. Yes,
they were sucking.
Yes, mama. Yes,
and
Mary.
It's like the last thing I need to suck on me is a leech. Like let me figure it out.
And
first.
There was a time like in history, medical history, where that was a treatment. Medical history. It was a treatment was to have leeches suck your blood because there was a lot of bloodletting, and people believed that a major cause of issues was too much blood in the body.
Too much blood in the body.
It's actually, they use it in the Nosferatu movie.
You know what? I'm just going to say this statement, and we're going to leave it behind us. And I know that you love fish. You don't like snow cone? I love snow cone. Joe's new fish is absolutely gorgeous. It's like a beautiful rainbow. And I almost wonder it's because you're a part of the LGBTQIA plus alliance. Like, that's probably why you got snow cone. And snow cone is like, I wouldn't even... snow cone is snow cone.
Yeah,
they are amazing.
Well, yes.
Well, but I'm gonna say let's leave the fish to their oceans or to their freshwater. I don't want the medical history. I understand that leeches were sucking blood for medical reasons. Okay, but like they didn't need to be.
No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't have been. The doctors were wrong with that one.
And I'll say another thing, and maybe it's because it kind of freaks me out. But when you're getting a pedicure, let's leave the fish in their tank. I don't need to see these fish.
It's very wrong. It's abuse.
Eating the dry skin off your feet. Are you serious?
Abuse.
I would like to see you eat the dry skin off someone's feet.
People have lost feet because, first of all, not aside from the fact that is an incredibly abusive practice.
Yes.
It also, they're bacteria because like the fish are in there, like it's a breeding ground for bacteria. People have gotten like a cut on their foot or something, flesh-eating bacteria.
Can you imagine my feet?
Your feet are already covered in flesh-eating bacteria. Can you imagine?
I would walk in with 2 feet. I'd walk out with 0.
Walk out with a tail.
I would walk out with a tail. I would with a fish. With a fish still clenched to this foot. Disgusting.
On each toe. Sucking each toe. You would love that.
Wait, you want to talk kinky? Fish sucking on each one of these toes. Good children.
I'm Joe Hegyes.
And I'm Angela Muscarella.
And this is Good Children.
We spent the past 24 years growing together.
And now it's time for us to grow up.
Well, I know what you're thinking. They must be talking about the ocean again. They must be talking about fish again. They must be. Are you clenching your chest because you're about to have a heart attack, or like you just want to feel something?
Muscle.
Today we're going to be talking about. I would.
You
say
look at us. You say,
fitness gaze.
Yeah, and
well,
you literally are.
I literally am a fitness guy. I would say today we're going to be talking about fitness. We're going to be talking about different classes. We're going to be talking about specific. Maybe cult-like workouts. Maybe we're going to be talking about SoulCycle. Maybe we'll talk about Barry's. But there's a lot of things to discuss, and I think that will bring you into our world for a second.
Flashback. The year is 2017.
Is that the flashback? Holy hell. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start doing flashback. Yeah.
You give people a long time to think about where was I in 2017.
That's a really good way to start a conversation.
Yeah. You walk into a room and the first thing you say is flashback. The year is 2017.
You want to talk icebreakers? People are like trying to like do like put your name with an animal. Like, no, just say flashback. The year is 2013.
Have I ever said when I had to put my name with an adjective that starts with the first letter of my name?
What did you say?
Jovial Joe. History class, 11th grade. Mr. Coach was in that class.
I would have laughed.
Well, and I imagine I couldn't speak. So
Jovial Joe.
And I just I had like no friends. Whatever. Anyway, so we were talking about gyms. And, yeah, I think it was 2017 was my first soul class, which is probably my introduction to fitness, actually.
Did you find your soul?
I found my soul. Maybe I was going to retro prior. Well, everyone first it was starving.
Yeah.
Starving was the first thing.
Yeah. And it wasn't the starving that we talk about all
Haley
the time.
Steinfeld.
No.
Yeah, no, it was starving oneself. And then I think it may have gone straight into, I think maybe retro fitness, which was the first gym I signed up for at 12 years old?
12 years old. Yeah, I think we talked about this before, but it was more because it's like at that point it was a babysitting tactic almost, even though we were definitely old enough to like be at home by ourselves and play with ourselves. But if your mom was going, now why did you make that face?
Play with ourselves.
It was innocent. It was innocent. I didn't start playing until later on in life. Okay. So let's like keep it there. I was 12. Sicko. Anyways, we're 12 years old and your mom's going to the gym. We're going to go to the gym with your mom. Yeah. You can't get over the playing.
No, what do we mean? I was doing past. I was just itching my back. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It's okay. I really didn't mean to be nasty. I didn't. But we were going to the gym with your mom, and I can't help but to think like, it's so messed up. It's so messed up that. I mean, we were 12, but then even through high school, I was still also going to the gym.
Yeah, I think the craziest part is that we were 12 and we literally were doing a power walk on the treadmill, and that was it.
That's
and then again, the protein shakes.
Getting our steps in. But I would see people from our school there, too.
Who were, like lifting,
doing chest flies, but they were always
Can I ask you a question?
Skinny bitches. Yeah, what's up?
As a fitness person, is... Like, if I went to a gym and I did, like, those machines... Is that like pussy shit compared to like free weights and shit?
I think it's a little bit different. It provides just a tad more support and like stability in general.
So you're seeing it and you're like, calling me a faggot?
No, I'm not calling you. Well, I would see you off the machine and probably say the same.
Well, I'm usually in a little short and a Renaissance tour t-shirt.
And you know what? For Brooklyn, that's
you
straight.
Never know.
You never know. You never know. If you were to go up to them and try to hit on them, they'll probably spit in your face. But I do think that there is something, to bring it back to being sexy. Maybe everything's going to come back to sexy. There's something sexy about free weights.
Well, yeah. But what about this thing?
Oh, that inner thigh. That is just, that actually, the inner thigh clasping machine that just like kind of opens and closes. There's something to it that I think it's a fake machine. It does work your outer glutes and your inner thighs. Yeah. But there is something mortifying about being 16 to 17 years old and you're sitting your ass on that thigh machine.
Yeah. So you're telling me it's like sexier and it's definitely like if you want to like really like build muscle, you're gonna have to at some point get into the free weight.
Well, because think about it. It's like free weights, you're also working on grip strength, your forearms. Is like, I can't. You're doing bicep curls.
I can't even pick up a pencil. My wrists are gonna snap.
No, you have really dainty wrists. You have really small and dainty wrists.
I'm very dainty. It's a problem.
You are really dainty.
I am.
I wouldn't say it's a problem. I would say that's a blessing. Like it depends on how you look at that.
No.
You would say being dainty is a problem.
For me, yes. As a 6'3" person, yes.
Well, it is interesting because you're like 6'3" and you can tower over people, and then like you're just like.
I think that's issue is like when like the height creates daint.
So for you or just
because like
general?
The weight distribution and like the muscle distribution, like I'm just like always lanked.
So what would you say that my height equates to? Instead of like it's like so it's daint and then what's on the opposite side?
Why are you trying to trap me?
It goes.
But I would say no. I've always said this. I'm incredibly jealous of someone who is shorter, not short, but shorter than I.
And you know what, Joe? It's okay. It's okay. I've realized something. Okay. I've realized a lot over my years, and I hope this can be inspirational to some people out there. It's okay to be short. And you know what? People can say the S word to you. They can say short right to your face, and you don't have to feel anything.
Well, you know what pisses me off? What? You know that the short stigma against short men. It really does piss me off. It really does.
Well, and you know what? To the girls out there, I would like to talk to you, or to anybody, really to anybody.
Yeah. How about you fix that one?
I know, but I hate to say this. Well, I don't hate to say it. I feel like in the heterosexual relationships, it is a little bit harder for short men. Short men in gay dating, it's like, okay, they look at you sometimes with like bottom, or you can flip and you're like, it doesn't matter. Height does not matter. But for heterosexual relationships, it's like, why are the short guys always the last to finish? They have a lot of love to give.
Yeah.
They might look up at you, but they can, once you're on the bed and you're looking down, that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, I mean, I that was really, really beautifully put. Thank you for saying that on behalf of the entire short person community. back to the point, I think that when you're shorter and you work out for a day, you will have biceps, bulging biceps, thick thighs. Like, it really, like, the way that the muscle just protrudes out because it has nowhere to go lengthwise, I really am jealous of. And like, even the ass, your ass as a shorter person, it's just like, because you literally have less space to distribute. Yeah. So it just protrudes.
Which? When I say it like that, actually, I do say which. WUTCH. Which. Will it is sometimes a blessing, yeah, for sure, when you're in like a little Speedo or a little short. Yeah, like, my legs look amazing.
Like a thick thigh, are you crazy?
But you don't understand, Joe, growing up with thick thighs.
I understand.
You understand.
I was there with you.
You were there with me. It was like
the jeans were rubbing to nothing.
The jeans were rubbing to nothing. Holes nonstop. And like I wasn't one that shied away from a high kick, as we know. So like I was splitting pants left and right, but it was also mortifying. Like, we've talked about the husky section, but my biggest pain point for most of my life was my lower half of my body.
Right.
And it wasn't until I started getting older where people were like, whoa, nice legs.
Right.
And then, especially being gay, and it's like, love those legs. Look at those beefy legs. And you're
Is that what gay people say? That's what gay people sound like to you?
The gay people sound like, look at those beefy legs. Yeah. No, maybe in my mind sometimes they do, but they're like, okay, legs. Okay, legs turning out. Amazing. But yeah, it was the gym in high school that really started some serious shit.
I think that I have trauma. I've talked about this exact story before, but I think the reason why the free weight situation freaks me out is because of that one day where that football player asked me to spot him when I was sitting in the gym walking on the treadmill listening to like Lady Gaga instead of being in the actual gym class. Yeah. And he asked me to spot him. Obviously, I'm a big man at that point. I'm a big guy. And so I help him. I'm obviously having a panic attack because I'm like, what does this even mean to spot? Like, what are your possibilities? Even if someone asked me that today, I'd have no idea what that means. So I was just like sitting there being proud of him. And then he said, okay, do you want to go?
You say yes?
Yes.
Joe, that was crazy of you.
But he was so sweet. Like, this little boy was so sweet. Like, he really, really, really was not threatening. He wanted to help me. He understood clearly that I have never lifted a weight before in my life. So he was like, no, I'll help you. Like, I'll walk you through it. And I was like, maybe this will literally change my life. Like, I'm going to walk out of here with biceps. And this is why I don't think I can go to a gym. I have a personal training appointment at 10:30 tomorrow morning. I'm like going to cancel it.
Take a deep breath.
He put the pole with no weights. I've told this before. He put the
you
pole
couldn't lift it.
And I couldn't even hold up the pole with no weights.
Well, Joe, that is okay.
Imagine the humiliation.
It is
in my too tight gym uniform. It was double-sided black mesh and yellow mesh. Both sides too tight. Both sides much. And
sometimes when it's too tight, it holds in the places that
it wasn't doing that. And it was like the largest size they had available, which is crazy because like literally like I was not the largest kid in that school. So what were the other kids wearing?
That's brutal. I mean, I will say the pole is 45 pounds. That's a good amount of weight. For somebody who's not developing muscle correctly, who wasn't really actively trying to do things with their upper body, 45 pounds.
I'm going to cancel my gym membership.
That's so insane.
I'm going to cancel the gym membership and go to like classes again.
I think it is really interesting, though, on behalf of you, Joe, when gyms do offer a year commitment.
I don't know how do you know what I signed?
Because I know, I mean, it's Equinox. This podcast is sponsored by Orgain. Orgain believes real nutrition can have the power to make a real difference in people's lives.
Girl, how many proteins have you bought in the past 5 years?
It's not even funny because I probably went through about 20.
Orgain's new 30-gram protein shakes offer protein-packed real nutrition, designed to satisfy your cravings without any added sugar.
Plus, they are an excellent source of ultra-filtered protein with all 9 essential amino acids.
Orgain's products are handcrafted with high-quality ingredients that make it taste like an ice cream float shake, a triple thick float.
I honestly had the Orgain 30-gram protein this morning.
I know.
This morning.
And I can tell, look at you.
Look at me.
Strong, healthy, satisfied.
And I know I wear these loose fitting sweaters because I don't want you to see how much
scare people off with how much bulk you have. And I'm someone who definitely is not hitting my protein goals, even not in a way that's like grow muscle, just to be alive. And I feel like thanks to working, it's something that I know if I have it, I'm at least giving myself some sort of nutrition and hitting a protein goal.
And I'm not reaching for like the foods that are not filling me up. It's filling me up protein. That's the point of protein.
And we travel so frequently, we're on tour constantly, we are just always between sets, planes, jets, and it is so good to know that we have our Orgain 30-gram protein shakes with us because it keeps us going. It's nice to have that stability, honestly, in such a whirlwind of a life that we have.
And when you feel unstable, it's nice to have the stability with Orgain.
And it's not just protein powders, it's not just shakes, they also have bars.
And sometimes the bars are the best thing because
it's candy.
Candy. They taste amazing. And you want to talk simple and easy when on the go?
Oh my God.
I'm running out the door. I'm taking one of those bars with me. And before I even left the door, it's already down my throat.
Remember, there are no quick fixes when it comes to your health.
If you want more protein in your day, give Orgain's 30-gram protein shakes a try.
Head to Orgain.com/goodchildren and use code GOODCHILDREN to get 30% off your order.
That is the best offer that you're going to find, but you have to use our code GOODCHILDREN for 30% off your order.
One last time, head to Orgain.com/goodchildren and use code GOODCHILDREN to get 30% off your order. Thank you, Orgain.
It's hard to work out with a friend sometimes.
No, I would enjoy working out with you now.
We could do
classes.
I've
changed. Yeah, classes for sure, but I also need to get on that floor. It's so hard. It's so hard.
It is hard. The hardest part is showing up. And I say
that's the hardest part.
The hardest part is showing up, walking through those doors and saying, I'm going to be okay.
To some, because I show up and then I leave.
I'm good.
I show up and I walk in and I do the treadmill and I leave like I'm in 8th grade. You know what I mean?
You got to get out of the 8th grade mindset.
I know that, and that's for everything in my life.
You got to get out of the 8th grade mindset. You got to get out of the high school mindset. I would do the same thing in high school. I'd walk right into that gym. Sometimes I would sneak into the gym. Can I say that?
What do you mean?
I didn't have a pass.
For what?
For the gym. Synergy. Doesn't even exist anymore. I don't care.
Synergy shut down.
Synergy shut down.
Rest her soul.
May they rest. But I didn't. A lot of the times I didn't have a little pass. My dad was like, "Okay, you can use my keys," and then you would just flash the thing. But I was young. I was a minor, and then I would run on the treadmill, and then I would step on the scale, and I would get really angry, and then I would leave.
You do that now, in a different way. Metaphorically, you do the exact same thing now. So I think that both of us are still trapped in a few cycles.
We're trapped. We're trapped in a cycle of violence. Because when you walk into a gym, though, why do you feel like all of the eyes are on you?
Okay,
the eyes are not on you. No one cares.
Well, that is really what I think. Going to SoulCycle was the first time in my life where I was like, oh, I could exercise. And problem number one, let's just lay it out there: cost. Because it should not, and I think that we're stupid. I think that you can go to the why. There are definitely cheaper alternatives to all of these things, and what you're paying for is just a name brand for branding, no reason. But going to the first SoulCycle class and it being pitch black and not knowing that, also being surrounded by women really, really helped me. And knowing no one in this room is judging me because they can't even see me. I'm in the back row also. And then hearing inspirational quotes from an instructor who was so nice, that changed my life because I was like, oh, I can do this and not feel like I'm going to die.
There is,
in other ways, heart rate close to death, but that was different.
Heart rate in a zone that shouldn't be legal.
Yeah.
I will say, though, when it comes to SoulCycle, love my girls. I love my girls on the bikes, but comparison is the thief of joy. But I know I say that, and I still continue to compare myself.
And you are the biggest thief.
You're
Robin Hood.
I am such a thief when you really think about it. I'm so thiefy. Locatelli cheese is gone in any supermarket. Gone. I'm gonna get arrested one day, and they're gonna show me a clip, and then I'm gonna say, "You're right. I took the cheese. I cut the cheese." Anyways, when it comes to the SoulCycle, I'm comparing myself to Catherine and Katie in the front.
Are you?
I am comparing myself to Catherine and Katie in the front, who are maxing out at 100 pounds, and they're moving their body in a way that I did not know was
You're comparing yourself to Catherine and Katie?
Always.
Wow.
Like in a SoulCycle class,
if there's a man in the room, I feel competition. I don't feel anything with my girls.
But I feel like for a while, especially when we started to go to SoulCycle in that in Plainview or wherever that was, I was looking around and I wasn't seeing many men. Besides older dads.
Yes.
Which at the time I was like, hey Bill.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like what's going on there?
Yeah. That's why I avoided, like, God, this is an interesting conversation, isn't it? Because, like, worst case scenario with me, I go into SoulCycle, there's a sub, it's a gay man. Not anymore, obviously. Now I almost try to only go to gay men, but at that point it was like, oh my God, I have to die.
Yeah.
I have to die in the
because
bathroom.
you're being perceived.
Right. Which also, like, no, that's someone who's clocking into work who does not give a fuck.
Yeah.
But that was a big struggle for me, like, in early post-grad years, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the truth. Being a gay man who works in fitness,
who coaches,
who's a coach, when there are other gay men in that class,
it's a relief.
It's a relief. I'm not looking at you as a client and saying, oh my God, there's another gay man. You're not lifting those weights. I'm not judging the people that are in the class. I'm actually like, for me, thank God my music is gay as hell.
Literally, like, I think that you changed it for me, because I remember, like, going to probably like forward spin class years ago and being like, oh, this person is just Andrew. Like, it's like what's the difference? Like, why am I acting like because you're behind a microphone, like you are actually like an evil authority figure?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I actually like would so much prefer a room full of sisters.
I would be sick of a straight men in my class, because I'm like, okay, Charlie XCX is going to be playing.
And what are they going to do? Hit you?
No, they're not going to hit me. But like some people are really, really
music
protective or music motivated, especially during a strength class. Like they want to hear, the Drakes of the world. And
well, if they took one look at you and booked your class, that's on them.
If they took one look at me
and booked your class,
that's on them.
And they expected Drake to play. Well, yeah, I think that would be pretty foolish of them.
I agree. I completely agree. Don't get me wrong.
Seems like it really threw you for a loop.
I wasn't expecting that to really emotional.
Like you start stuttering. Like I really just thought it was
suddenly emotional.
Pretty painless sentence.
But to bring it back to SoulCycle, I do think that SoulCycle was a major catalyst for us to be like, okay, there is a community here. It was like drinking the Kool-Aid in a way, drinking the juice in a way that was like, they are saying some crazy shit though, and I don't buy into it all the time. Sometimes I
used to buy into it a lot more, for sure. Yeah, now I can't really stand it, but I used to really love the motivational speeches.
Yeah,
but I just think that it was very community. I was buying that merch. I owned that grapefruit candle. Like I was so in deep. And then I think I went back to retro fitness.
Yeah.
SoulCycle was my only workout up until I think I moved into Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And then oh my God, Heather Robertson.
Oh,
that was the
Heather
introduction
Robertson
to me to the rest of my life.
If anyone is trying to get into fitness, and I think that I'm
going to do it down here.
Yeah, you absolutely should. I was thinking, I have all of those weights. Let's bring them back.
Yeah.
And let's get serious in here.
Let's clean out the studio and just make it a fitness
remove
studio.
This carpet that no one can see.
I hate the carpet.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. We've spilled so much water on it over the past 6 months.
I've spilled a lot.
Do you guys know that there's a carpet?
There's a carpet.
It's Grinch green.
It's Grinch green.
It's
like
Grinchy.
It is
furry.
like really furry and really nice, like for your toes and your feet. But like, there's so many substances in here.
There's so many substances,
and like that's it.
But it is Grinch green.
But I will say, we're coming at this conversation as two people who are actually fit, and like you're still working out, you're doing those things, but like we were going to SoulCycle without any foundation
at all,
like knowledge on fitness at all. Like we were not in a place to really like feel like we're competing with Catherine and Katie at the front. We were sitting right in the back, but like that is where we started, and it was nice to be in that class, even though we were battling so many things in our minds.
But then the first time you hear like, great job, Andrew.
Oh my God. It changed my whole perception on working out. I was like, you know what? Like I've been so hard on myself for looking a certain way, but all it took was Joe at the front saying, good job, Andrew.
For me just Joe?
Pedaling. Yeah. You know the Joe. What was her name?
Oh, Joe.
Joe
Yeah,
at SoulCycle.
Yeah. I love her.
her at the front saying, good job, Andrew, for me just pedaling my feet.
Yes.
I was like, okay, I actually will come back. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
The problem with that place again is that the cost is insane.
Oh yeah,
the cost is insane. Like it literally, like I don't understand. And you'll be in those classes, especially in the city. Like I'd go after work when I was like 23, and I'd go like once a month, and every day it'd be like Serena is celebrating her 400th class. Like Elizabeth comes 3 times a day. Like I never forget one guy who gave a speech, and he was like, "If you want to get to the point that like Katie is up here, she comes to this class twice a day." Morning and night, before and after work, every day, 7 days a week. That math, Andrew, what is that? How much does that cost
$90 a day times 7. That's $630 a week.
A week to ride a bike. You know what I mean? So people are insane.
That's like $2,400 a month.
Yeah, some people. It's rent. That's actually. That's not even rent. To call that rent is almost abysmal. That is like literally beyond rent and groceries and utilities and anything else. Like. And it's just to ride a spin bike in the dark. So yeah, there's some challenges in that department. It's not exactly sustainable unless you're like a really wealthy person who like wants to burn your money.
But when we found our angel, when we found our mother, Heather Robertson, everything, all bets were off. Like,
Heather Robertson
on YouTube. Listen, you guys. All you need to do is go on YouTube and look up Heather Robertson. She doesn't even speak. And that's, to me...
She would always do a little... Hi, guys. It's Heather. Today we're going to do a 45-minute HIIT workout with alternating, like, left-right lunges and this.
And, like, today's going to be body weight. Boop, boop, and boop. And, like, those are the toughest because you have to self-motivate.
But we were able to fucking do it. We were really self-motivated.
We were self-motivating because... this is mental... Well... This is a little bit of illness, but I would take my pre-workout and it was all bets are off. It's like once that caffeine hits my system, I'm like, why would I even take that? Me putting that in my body was like, I have to move.
I have to start taking it again.
It's what it is.
Because it was that feeling where it was like, well, it'd be insane to sit through the tingles and jitters I'm about to experience and just sit at my laptop. Yeah. Like I have to move my body or I will die.
And like caffeine is another whole conversation. And I know that you shouldn't really be having too much of it, but it does like focus you in a way that is your main priority. It's going to last for about an hour and you're going to be really good on the other side.
Yeah.
It's pre-workout.
Heather Robertson had the best royalty-free music of all time. Just some of the best songs you could ever possibly hear. I know every one of them by heart.
Some of them were kind of like, huh? I'm an Indian song.
Yeah, that one. I was just don't want to wait.
Yeah, it really is. It's so interesting to look back on the entire journey. And I don't really know what was my catalyst for really getting into it. I guess it was like
the COVID-19 pandemic.
It was the COVID-19 pandemic that I was like going really crazy in fitness and like, well.
You were doing spin coaching before that, weren't you?
I was doing spin coaching.
Tilt.
At Tilt. Yes, Joe. And that was fun for me because I love a rhythm-based ride. I love a beat. Yeah. It was a way of like choreographing something for people that's going to get them excited. I wouldn't say my classes were necessarily the most difficult because I wasn't running out of the saddle.
Right.
But One Direction, Kiss You was one of the best songs to spin to, period. And let me kiss you. Boom, boom, boom.
I don't think I even know that song.
Oh, it's really, really incredible. But yeah, once the pandemic hit, I was like,
it got
serious. Now it got really, really serious.
I'll never forget Zooming with you.
Yeah.
I would Zoom with you at like 12 p.m. every day for like a week. And that was the end of it for me. But then that was all I needed to get started.
Did you ever Zoom with others as well? Was Steph ever on that?
I think Steph may have been on it once.
Nell,
I think Nell for sure.
Yeah, we were getting groups together and Zoom workouting together.
I can't wait. Oh my God, coming up, I really want to do a pandemic recap episode because we're coming on 5 years. My fucking company was making us do dance breaks every day. We had to all get on Zoom and dance. And let me tell you, it was like someone had a gun to my head and I had a bomb in my stomach. It was like literally the worst possible thing. And I was so pissed off and miserable. My little 2020 TikTok LED lights around my room flashing fun colors.
It was like, again, like they thought that making people dance was going to get people in better moods and like make
it actually made me want to like die.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I was leading them on the other side though. So
I'm sure
I just need to let you know that.
I'm sure you were.
I was in charge of company morale, but
we were being taught by like Jason Sudeikis' sister.
So that's nice.
She had a dance studio company.
Oh my God. I got into 305 Fitness during COVID.
Did you? You were Zooming on 305?
I was Zooming 305 Fitness with the owner of 305 Fitness in Miami. She was in Miami. She was doing her dances. I was in my little living room in Boston. Bong right behind me. Stinks like weed. Fuck. Living with 2 college kids. And I was doing the star dance, the right, left. That shit's fun though. I can see that for me coming up.
Yeah, that would be fun for you. I think I would pass away peacefully because I just don't think I could possibly have the rhythm to dance, unfortunately. I think that like from there we moved in together. We were still doing at home, but what was was it F45?
It was F45
almost immediately.
Yeah,
and that was a game changer. Cycle bar.
Well, I was going to Orange Theory during COVID, but I wasn't telling anybody during.
Right, you didn't tell me that. Yeah,
because I was afraid morally that it was wrong, right. And I also felt like it's a weird thing that I wouldn't tell you and like lie to you.
No, I'm happy you did because I wouldn't have hung out with you. You know what I mean? And like I needed to hang out with you.
But it's almost worse. Looking back on it, like I'm happy like nothing happened. Like I didn't compromise anyone's immune system. But I definitely was going to class every morning and then showing up and pretending I didn't.
Isn't that do you hear that and do you think maybe something's a little askew?
I think sociopath. I wouldn't even like breach the subject. I wouldn't even say. I would be like, yeah, Heather was crazy this morning, and I just fully went to
I'm finding this out right now.
60-minute 3G on tread rower floor at Orange Theory with a mask on. That was the worst part.
That is crazy.
That like you had to work out with a mask on.
Where were we working out? I think at 45 in the beginning it was masked.
Yeah. It was, and I'm sorry, I don't think they did enough research.
That was so crazy. Holy shit. I just, the feeling of sweat on your face and under a fucking mask was crazy.
You are trying to breathe and you're actually sucking in the mask.
Oh my God.
Because it's
Did that go on for a very long time?
It went on for a very long time. And I bought like a specific
sports mask.
The sports Under Armour mask.
I had those. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How long was that?
That was at least like a year.
Cycle bar? Yes. I was spinning with a mask on. Yeah.
Oh, more than a year, probably a year and a half.
Oh my God.
Well into 2021.
Yeah. I was going to say, I almost think when that was the following year we did LA. Like that's crazy. Yeah. I completely forgot about that. That was stupid as hell. Stupid as hell.
Walk outside. Go on a walk.
Yeah. I mean, like literally the idea that was protecting anyone from anything as you're dripping sweat onto each other in a small, tiny, cramped room in Brooklyn. But the workouts were so good.
Workouts were great.
And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, what was that discipline and why do I lack it now? And I feel like the main thing about 2020 was we were all, like, really made aware, like, if you don't move your body, like, you're going to kill yourself. You know, like, it was kind of, like, really kind of explained very plainly, like, you need to do something because you cannot do nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm kind of there again.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I need to take some charge in my life because if I don't, I'm going to go crazy. Like, the world is shattering, has shattered. It's past tense. Something needs to happen every single day to keep grip on reality.
If I didn't move, this is where I'm at now. If I don't move my body, I actually, it's like my brain would not be functioning well that day. Like my anxiety is through the roof.
Andrew.
Like I'm like really negative self-talk. And I know that's not the case for everybody, but it's like when you,
the case for me.
You got to think about Legally Blonde. She wouldn't have said that.
Endorphins make you happy. Happy people don't kill their husbands.
Exactly. And if I wasn't working out, I'd kill my husband. So I like, and that is what puts it into perspective.
It does. It really does. Yeah.
Like, I really hope this episode isn't, like, for people who don't work out. Like, fitness in general is triggering for people, and I understand that. But, like, I do hope it's, like, the reason I work out now, obviously, like, we all battle our own demons. So you want to look a certain way or you want to see progress or whatever. But like, I really think that the sole reason that I move my body is for proper function of my brain and to feel less anxious and more energized.
Yeah. I think it's just like it is. I do think that is also my issue. Like I think that's why my anxiety has been so bad. Truly, is because I have just sat inside. Mm-hmm. Like even last week, all I did was write. Like all day, every single day. Like I went to Equinox, but I ran for 15 minutes and left both times. Like, could not do it. So yeah, I don't know. It's just so crazy. I hate to bring it back to an early episode for us, but like. It really, really, really haunts me and makes me so sick, and no amount of growth and healing will ever solve for me, like growing up fat. Yeah. And like literally the incessant battle of like it's like even growing up gay, it's like, what would my brain patterns be if I was not always in self-defense? Like what would it be like to walk into a gym and the first thought in my head is not, get out of here, you don't belong here, you should not be in this space, people are gonna make fun of you, people are gonna judge you. Like what would it be like for that not to be the top thing? Like it's so, even at my skinny miniest, you know what I mean? Like it's always still there. Like, and I'm getting more aware of it. It's not disappearing. I'm only just getting more aware of it, which is maybe worse. But it's like that. The idea of that is so crazy. It has truly shaped every experience, especially when it comes to fitness. Because it makes me like sad to think that for so long I denied myself the positive mental benefits of fitness, like of just moving my body. Like I did not move my body for 2 decades, you know, like, and the level of depression, the level of anxiety, and because I only was like, I do not belong here. Yeah. And then when I started doing it, I also was like, I'm doing this because I want to lose weight, which also was not the objective, because obviously it's a pattern and it's cyclical. You need to understand other things about your life before you like figure it all out. Yeah. But the way that every single decision, everything. And everything. It's
always in the back of your mind. You really, I mean, obviously you can go to therapy and you talk about it and you'll be able to work it through. And I think that's what was so nice about the F45 of it all, is like the last thing I wanted at that point was to like see me work out. Right now mirrors. I'm kind of like, there was no mirrors. That was their whole thing. And I think that there's obviously every different studio, every different gym brings a different like motto or feeling when it comes along with it. Like Planet Fitness, not for the meatheads, right? Like Barry's is intimidating because they do kind of have, that's kind of part of their branding. So is
Equinox.
And Equinox too. It's like, you look at Equinox's branding right now. It is very like,
so intimidating.
It's like the most muscular man and sexiest woman that they're like fucking, right? Like, and you're like, okay, like it's working out should feel sexy, right? Is basically their thing. And it should, but to your point, when you grow up a certain way or you grow up larger, at least we were able to kind of get to a place where we can step foot into those spaces. I know people too that like, and looking back, we did have it easy, although we were bullied here and there for what we looked like, and a lot of it was us holding on to those certain situations. Our parents would never. Yeah. Right? Like our parents would never comment on our bodies or say like, you're so fat, get to the gym, or like, you need to lose weight. Like if that was my case, I probably would shut down, and I probably wouldn't be able to bring myself to work out in resentment to those that have hurt me. Yeah. So that's a completely different side. But when you can recognize that you are in control, it's not for other people, you are in control of how you want to feel and how you want your brain to function. And those people that have said those things, whether they're your elders, like your parents, whatever, unfortunately one day you will move on, right? But you'll still be holding on to a lot of resentment and be in a place where you wish you could have maybe done something different. And that is why moving your body is important. Period.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. Yeah. It is. I just want to get to a point where I am like, okay, this is not a big deal.
No.
And I'm like, how now? I'm 28. It's not like I've been to 1,000 gyms.
Well, let me ask you, because you can ask me the same exact question. Do you think that you're at a point right now where your main priority would be moving your body for?
No.
Yeah. So I think that is the problem.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the problem. It's like we all think that we want to start moving our body because, again, you want to feel good, but there's always a physical goal. And if you want to get skinnier or you want to get stronger, you will get stronger. It will take time. But then you beat yourself up because it's not happening immediately.
Well, I'm not. And yeah, no, continue.
But would you say your main reason that you would want to work out right now is to what?
Like to lose weight and gain muscle. Yeah, it is. Which is like, I'm not necessarily beating myself. Maybe I am. Maybe I need to clock that tea. I need to go even deeper into my psyche. But I don't think I'm beating myself up over it. I just think I am like I'm definitely not having like brain patterns of like, I'm not like mad at myself. I don't like regret the past few years of my life. I don't feel like far into myself. I just am like, I still don't belong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's still the primary thought.
But what was
and joining Equinox was the craziest decision I could have ever possibly made. Like it was like it's like bringing like a captive bred zebra into like the savannah with lions. You know, like it's like actually like, hold on, what's going on?
Because you walk in there and it's like these men are like they're like chiseled.
Yeah,
they're chiseled men, and there are also a lot of gays that go to Equinox, and there's a lot of eyes. There's a lot of wandering eyes. There's a lot of showering, and there's a lot of nudity in the locker rooms that could also be like, what's going on here? And I know from multiple people who have, you know, done a little something at Equinox and met somebody in the Equinox locker room, like started dating because of Equinox. Like, it's a spot for gays to go to, like, unfortunately be seen. And I think that is the antithesis to why you would want to work out.
Yeah, it is really that. I really do think I signed myself up for a nightmare. But here's the thing. I'm like, I can get through it.
Joe, I was going to say, like, how would you have talked about going to a $3 bill? How would you have talked about going to Come On Everybody?
Like, I literally, like, I know, like, and this was like the thought process I had when I was there. I just need more like power of will, because it's like literally all of these things that I was once afraid of. I mean, the gay community is a great point of view for it, because like literally everything was terrifying. Now nothing is. Somehow I guess Equinox is the crux of the two. And I know it's like it's not that crazy. People actually do not give a fuck about you. Like even like I go to sex parties. You know what I mean? Like I go to far worse situations than an Equinox locker room. Like, so it is like, I think the main thing is the fitness side of it more than it's anything else. But it is like, I know if I just go and I do it for a week, I'll be past this. Like, I'll be past the whole issue and I'll be comfortable.
And it's not like a fitting in like, you don't need to fit into the gym that you're going to. It's like, that is all in. That's all in your mind.
I know. I'm like, I need to buy a new wardrobe, and like as someone I'm trying not to buy a single item of clothing this year, that's also a huge challenge. Because I think I would be a lot more willing to go if I went into like a fucking Lululemon and bought an entire new wardrobe and then walked into Equinox. Yeah. But I'm refusing to do that for anything. So that's a second challenge.
I want like everybody
my dumpy fucking gym clothes that I was wearing on Orange Theory, and I have to walk into Equinox.
Oh, Joe,
like a fucking idiot.
I work in fitness, and I still wear the same shirt that I was wearing about 5 years ago. So it doesn't matter.
I know.
No one cares. And I want every single person, especially, and I think if I've done anything, I'm happy for myself that I have been able to get to a place where I do feel comfortable in a gym space. Yeah. I do feel comfortable in a workout space. I feel like I belong. I also don't look at the other people. I intentionally do that. I'm only looking at myself, and that could be the problem.
I'm also, it's like a horse with blinders. I don't want to look at anybody else. Yeah.
I'm literally in the mirror. If I'm running on the treadmill and there's a mirror in front of me, I'm staring at myself and I'm giving myself like motivational things. But if there are other men around, I'm not looking at them until I am. And then that's a different situation. But I'm not like, I'll walk past people. I'm not like, oh my God. Like, what are they doing? Like, the grunters, the attention seekers, the people that are throwing their weights, I'm like, girl, you're also working through something.
Oh, of course.
We're all working through something.
We're all working through something. And that's the craziest part.
That is the craziest part.
That's the craziest part to me is I can't, like, we had this conversation, me, you, and Garrett, where we were like, can you name one person you know who is happy with their bodies?
No.
Can you name one person who is like completely satisfied with how they look?
Well, how can you be satisfied with how you look when we live in a society where you'll turn on your television or you turn on your TV or you'll watch Hulu with ads, and the first ad is always GLP-1s or how you can be skinnier. And now you've worked with a Weight Watchers program before, and they always prided themselves on like feeling good, and all of a sudden they're promoting GLP-1s, and then you're getting on the subway and there's a sign for Wegovy and how to lose weight. So how could you be okay with your body? It's so crazy. Grateful.
It also is like not even just that, like you open up Instagram and it's like, look at how crazy this celebrity's face is. Like she looks like she's 12 again. Yeah. And it's like every single celebrity has suddenly found some aging potion that they all look 14. Like, so even if you're happy with yourself, you're like, oh, I could always look better.
Can you imagine? I actually am grateful that we grew up in a time of the Jenny Craig and the Weight Watchers, and that was a whole different side of the coin. But I can't imagine being in the bodies that we were in a society where it was so normal to stick a needle in you to lose weight. I'd be on Wegovy when I was 16 years old.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
For
like,
absolute sure.
I would have confirmed in my head
by my 18th birthday. Yeah.
But I do believe that anybody that does it is completely up to you.
Oh yeah,
it's like, completely fine. Like, I'm not talking out against it, and like that is your decision to make for you to feel good, if that's what's going to make you feel good. But I do think when it's so prominent and so focused on, it's normalized to be like, you can't be fat, you have to be skinny, and everyone should be the same.
Yeah, it's like there's no excuses now.
No.
Like, and that's like literally what it feels like. It's like, oh, okay. Like it is so crazy. And at the same time, like we were so close. Like culturally, we were so close to something beautiful, and it is so crazy to watch that timeline split. Like the body positivity, body neutrality movement, like the way we were seeing like celebrity. And now I look at celebrities now who 5 years ago, I'm like, you look like a normal person. Yeah, you look like you actually. And I didn't clock at them, but I was like, wow, you kind of could have been any of us. And now you're like back to being an unattainable beauty standard. And it is really crazy, like just how intense and how fast we got to this point where there is just absolute, even the jokes, like I can't believe how normalized like a fatty joke is on TikTok again. I'm like, this is just like, how did we get here?
Also, I'm sorry. It is so normalized from like, well, we are regressing as a society. I completely agree with that. Yeah. I've seen multiple people talk about it. People are using the R word like it's like a fucking drinking water. Yeah. People are using the F, like the faggot, like when they're not a part of the community. People are saying fat when they're the skinniest person I've ever seen. So it's like, we have regressed so much as a society when it comes to what we deem as acceptable to say. And it's really sad, and it's really triggering when I see people, even that I know, that they're like, oh, you fat sack of shit. When I'm like, it's really tough to see. And I think with the body positivity movement, even creators, to your point, like, it's tough when you feel like you have to fit a certain mold for people. You might be bigger, so you're talking on the internet and like you are inspiring other people to be more themselves, but there is always a lingering voice in the back of your head, and I felt it too, that's like, you you see other people and you're like, oh, but like, I know I would be happier if I looked like that.
Right.
So on your own personal accord, you're doing everything that it takes to look like them. But then you have to be on the internet and you're like, you guys, just because I'm losing weight doesn't mean anything is different anymore. Still love your body. But you're losing your message. The message is being lost.
And it's so messy. That's like, I mean, it's, I guess part of this all is like, it's the side effects of the internet, because it's like, no one culturally ever had to deal with this before. No. Like, there was no world where someone's problem was, I'm a body positive influencer and now I'm losing weight. And my, like that's just like, it's like a made up fictional issue that like has become a real situation.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's like, it is so crazy, because even hearing you say it, like, and we have an upcoming guest on the podcast, and I've been thinking about this quote that he said, which was, and it's John Lovett, spoiler alert, but he said, people don't like hearing from people who are in the middle of a journey. And like that statement has been sticking with me, because I'm like, we are all in the middle of a journey. Like literally no one has finished the journey. Like we never will. Yeah. So we hear these statements that we all believe are like the final, like the end cap. I'm sure we've said a million finales to our body positivity journeys and our just neutrality towards everything journeys. And it's like literally every time we speak, that changes. Always. And my relationship to my body changes, and my relationship to the world changes. And it is so sticky. It's a sticky conversation to have, because it's like, what if you say the wrong thing? What if you don't include someone in your thought process here? But like, even you saying my life would be better if I looked like that, like that's kind of where my brain has been at.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because I have been on the opposite side of that in a crazy way, where I've been so accepting of myself. And like now I am like, I just said it basically, like, what would my life be like if I grew up skinny? Like literally, like, how much better would my brain patterns be if I walked into a room and thought, I'm supposed to be here. Yeah. Like, and that is so crazy that I'm back to being like, oh, actually, I have the same brain that I did when I was 16. I still think the same things. And like, I still secretly wish to be skinny.
And it's interesting, because even those people who are quote unquote skinny, you think that that's enough. Right. Of course. You think that like, just because they look that way, they're also happy. Right. And they don't feel those things when they walk into those spaces, but they do. And like, when you can recognize that, I think that's really important. And I've also been that way too lately, you know that, and we don't have to get into the details of conversations that have ensued in this house. But I think for me, it's been really hard. While I feel comfortable working out in fitness classes or gyms or whatever, it's like, and I've talked about this before, when you work in fitness and you are in charge of people who look differently than you, who are more in shape, quote unquote, than you, but you're the one calling the shots, it's imposter syndrome. And but then it's reinforced by people, right? Like, I've been in toxic situations where they're like, you're too fat, right? You're like, even when working in fitness. And then I recently went to the doctor, and I told this to Joe, and I'm fine with sharing, but like, I went to the doctor and I got weighed, and they told me my BMI, and then they asked me if I've ever considered getting on Wegovy to lose weight. And I was like, that for me is really hard to hear, because I've spent the past 5 years of my life focusing on an industry where I want to help other people feel good about themselves. So, and for me to feel good about myself as well. But then it just feels like it's never enough.
Of course.
And when you get to that point, when you feel like you're plateauing, or you feel like there's not anything else you can do besides getting on Wegovy, or getting the tummy tuck, or getting the something that's going to make you happy, like, that is the hardest part. Yeah. But when you get lost in that, you lose sight of the reason that you're even moving your body in the first place. And it's so you can last to like 85, 90 years old and live a long life where you are healthy, because that's actually all that matters. Yeah. Ever.
And I think that like something we should underscore with this conversation is, and you've already said it, like, we are truly not judging anyone in any direction, like whatever.
No.
Like actually, like I think one of the main things you and I have compassion for is people's relationships to their bodies.
Oh my God.
Like, literally whatever it takes for you to get through your life is your tea. Like there is no, like, don't let anyone make you feel bad for doing shit. Like whatever it fucking is, like, do not, like, you are doing the best with the tools that you have to get through the literal hell of being a human being in 2025.
Yes. And it's not about, again, it's not about looking a certain way. We all are dealing with something that's making us feel like we have to feel different or look different or anything. And this conversation is not to be like, maybe it is a catalyst for somebody who doesn't really find movement much in their day to be like, yeah, I'm going to move my body. But I do, when I was posting my little fitness videos, which maybe I'll start posting a few here and there again, getting responses from people being like, this is really inspirational. And like, I actually am going to move my body because you are, like, that makes me feel good because I needed that too, as somebody. But
you do that. I mean, I was case number one.
Yeah, true.
Literally, it was because of you.
And which is crazy, but it also is like, if you feel, I think what I would want people to take from this conversation is, if you feel stuck and you feel like you have battled, you've been in wars with people have told you're fat, or you don't look a certain way that they want you to look, or you should stop eating, or you should do all those things, like, that's going to drive you into a hole where you feel like you can't dig yourself out of. And it's so much easier to be avoidant and avoid the situation and just, like, I'm sorry I pointed towards you, but to, like, grovel in it. Yeah. But when you can recognize it's not should never be a revenge body. You should never be like, I'm working out because I want my ex to be so fucking jealous that they miss this body. And I recently had this conversation with a friend. It's like, you are in control of your life. You are in control of your life, and you need to recognize that your life can be a long one where you're happy, your mental state, like, moving your body, even if it's just walking for 20 minutes, is going to get you feeling good. It's going to get you feeling like, you know, I'm ready to have a conversation with somebody. I feel more energy, but don't feel stuck. You don't need to do a 1 hour HIIT class to get started. It could be a 5-minute walk, or take the stairs
and
instead of the
stay
escalator.
A walk for the rest of your
God,
life. It really is. Like, I think that's also something that, like, I don't know, we have all become, like, I feel like we all think that we need to be doing what everyone else is doing, and that, like, even in terms of, like, calorie intake, like, we all have the baseline of what we see on the fucking back of a package, but it's like, we have everyone's needs and necessities in life are different, like, and we only know what feels good to your body. So it's like, if walking is it. Like, it literally, like, it's not everyone needs to be someone who trains like an athlete. Yeah. And I feel like that also has fucked me up, because I'm like, oh, I should be doing Tough Mudders. Yeah. And like, actually, like, I have no reason to be doing a Tough Mudder. Like, simply, like, that's crazy.
And when you would make jokes, but you're like, Andrew, what are you training for?
Because you will, like, there will be times when you're doing like 3 workouts a day. I'm like, are you going into the military? Like, are you becoming a Marvel superhero?
It's interesting because it's like, there are moments that you're like, I'm going to work out 3 times a day because I know what my body's going to look like. But it also is like, I sometimes want to work out because it's like, 1, I'm away from my phone. 2, my mind is clear. 3, it doesn't have to be the most intense thing you're ever doing. You're just moving your body in a different, like, in a way that you're not normally if you're sitting down. It's interesting. It's, at the end of the day, it's like, what are you training for? You're training for, like, you are training for the grave, unfortunately. Like, you're training to, like, at least last a little bit longer. Obviously there are things that can potentially happen and you never know, but, like, you are in control of at least trying to hold on a little bit longer. And I also think that to the gays out there, oh my God, I really, really, really want you to know that it really does not matter what you look like. There's always going to be a stereotype of somebody who has a 6-pack that goes for another person with a 6-pack. And you might look at them and say, oh my God, they're so sexy, or you lust after them or whatever. But when it comes to fitness and when it comes to the gay space, I do think it's really toxic. And I do think it is really hard to get out of that mindset of being like, I need to look like them for me to feel okay with being in a space that's dominated by them. And that is only gonna keep you away from the spaces that you feel like you belong in, and you'll never feel like you can if that's where you're at. And I think that, I'm sorry to the grinders and the scruffs and the gay apps, it's tough because it perpetuates that for people that like have always felt that way. But it's the torso. It doesn't matter, girl. It does not matter, girl. And I'm trying to tell myself the same thing.
It's all about the cock.
It's all about your girthy cock and your
No, it's not even about
ass.
that.
No, it's not. Like and that's another thing. That's another thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I really hope that we can help heal people through conversations when it comes to the, straight, whatever. But I'm speaking to gays. I needed to hear it for so long to feel like I started to work out because I wanted to feel desirable. Yeah. And that is like, when you can lose sight of that, you feel so free.
Also, like, it really, when you do lose sight of that, I mean, I think that ultimately confidence is the most attractive quality a person can have. And it really does this is horrible of me.
Don't
like,
say it.
It's horrible. But, like, I, like, the way in which I view myself, like, obviously is not great. And, like, sometimes I'm like, whoa, I'm getting messages from people who I would never in a million years think would ever like, I would never even bother tapping them, because why would they ever be interested in me? And that's something to think about. It's like, literally, you do have this set of rules in your head about who you think you even deserve to speak to. And, like, that's completely fictionalized. And also, like, not everyone's an asshole. Like, there is that stereotype with gays. There is. And it's a stereotype for a reason, because it's very prevalent, and you will literally hear people say the most out-of-pocket crazy shit in gay spaces like that. Obviously, like, the more queer those spaces lean, the more diverse those spaces lean, the more people of color in those spaces, like, that's when people, like, are open to, like, a variety of life experiences and bodies and people in general. So that's always, I think, the most comforting spaces I'm in, versus, like, a Thai tea, you know? But not everyone fucking sucks. Not everyone in the world is the worst person in the entire world. Like, you will find the people who you're supposed to find. And if those people, my worst nightmare is that there is a gay out in this world who is surrounded by people like that, who are just saying horrible things about their bodies and other people's bodies, and they are just kind of trapped in it because in some ways you're like, oh, I won. Like, I'm in this Pines group. I'm in this, like, I have, like, the popular girls, which, like, those were not the popular girls. Like, Glinda is not popular. Like, Glinda is a fucking freak. You know what I mean? Like, I've been really emphasizing Glinda lately. Yeah. Because I'm like, there's no world where, like, that girl who is so desperate for validation and attention, like, is actually, she's unhappy. That's, like, the whole point of Wicked. Like, and it's, like, just literally, we are so lucky to have each other. It truly actually blows my mind. Like, I don't even think we could possibly understand that. No, literally, like, the like, from, like, it's actually crazy when you think about what we have gone through in shared experiences, and maybe the way we've the lessons we've pulled from those experiences are maybe different, but at the same time, like, I can see you so clearly, and you can see me so clearly. And the idea that, like, my best friend would be someone who doesn't get that and who doesn't understand that, and I would have to live with that in loneliness is terrifying. It's really terrifying. Like, so please don't settle for less. Find your girls who are going through it and talk about it. Talk about it. Like, literally, I guarantee you everyone in the room is thinking it. So you might as well be the first person to say, you know what? Like, anyone else kind of hate themselves today? Kind of like, and not, like, in a way where I'm like, I'm going to get a salad today. Like, anyone in a much worse way, actually, than that.
And I also think, like, to your point, like, when you said that people, like, were reaching out to you that you never thought would reach out to you, and it is all fictionalized. And I think for so long, the men that I saw the people that I saw with the bodies that were considered desirable, I immediately judged them, and I would immediately be like, they're the worst fucking person I have ever literally fucking seen. Like, they have to be nasty. They literally hate me, and I hate them. Like, and I would be like, I'm not going to be friends. And I remember the conversations between the both of us, especially when it came to like Fire Island, and it would be like, look at this group of gays. Look at them. They all look identical. And yes, that could be a thing. Completely different side of the coin. But as I start meeting new people and I start becoming friends with people, they could look a certain way. They could be the most ripped person I've ever seen, and I could have the most emotional like conversation with them and realize that, why would I judge you based on what you look like? I'm afraid of people doing that to me, and it's just on the opposite side. And it's like, we just need to put the judgment past us when it comes to anybody. And it doesn't matter if you're friends with the person with the six-pack. It doesn't matter if you're friends with a person who might be a little bit bigger. It doesn't matter if it does not matter.
It doesn't. Also, like I threads this the other day. I was threading. I just feel like we're at a point right now. I don't feel like we're at a point globally, and especially in this nation, where like we literally cannot afford to hate each other.
No,
like we can't. Like, actually, it's life or death, and the administration is making that very, very clear. We can't afford to disagree on shit with trans people. We can't afford to disagree with other gay people, with queer people, with every other letter in the alphabet. Like, it is a point where like I am at a point with all queer LGBTQIA plus star asterisk everything, like I am on your side. I am fighting for you. I am rooting for you. Like, whatever it is that we are going through it together. And definitely there are spectrums of privilege within that, but at the same time, it's like, I don't care what you're saying and what you're doing as long as you're not being evil. Like, we need to make sure that we are together and very intentional about that, because I think the goal for a long time with discourse and everything else happening on the internet is to split us up, because we are weaker split up. But I really think even that, like, I'm like, that was an amazing tactic used by people to get us to hate other gay people.
Yes.
And that is happening constantly. And that's also in tech, and tech is something that definitely is interesting currently. And it's like, we literally need, the judgment thing, like, it's gotta stop. It really does have to stop.
Crazy. It's crazy. I don't care who you are, where you're from, what you did, as long as you love me. Yes.
This is the finale.
This is absolutely the finale. It kind of felt like that. It kind of felt like, I don't know what came over me. Like, something happened where I just felt so, because we are passionate about this. Like, I feel when I talk about things like this, because it's just been such a journey. And I know there are so many people that are listening to this that feel so similar, or feel like they're just getting started, or feel like they haven't started yet. And it's like, it's an emotional one.
It is. It really is.
It is. And
I feel like we have steered away from it for a while.
So long.
And probably for the best. Maybe not necessary to discuss every single week of our lives, but it is important to check back in and have these conversations. Yeah. I mean, I really learned a lot about myself just now in this past hour and a half.
This podcast can go anywhere. We can talk about cruise ships one week and it's like funny boopity bop, and we do that. And then we talk about a conversation that, like, I really hope it heals people, and I really hope it can be recognized for that. And I hope that people can see that we are doing a little bit more than boopity boppity boops all over the place. So maybe next year we'll get nominated for an award. I'm kidding.
Maybe we'll get an award next year.
Awards next year for sure. I'm tired of rumors starting.
I really I don't understand how to describe this rumor, and maybe we're like really on the soapbox today, but I mentioned it earlier. My rumor this week is not buying anything. That's my goal. Like, I am trying really hard not to participate in the economy. That's my rumor. I think that every corporation is evil, and I'm still going to use a lot of them because I kind of have no choice in some ways. But at the same time, like, every day another corporation does something crazy, like it's a lot easier to be like, you know what, I'm just not gonna buy anything. I'll buy my groceries and I'll make sure it's not at like a Whole Foods, which is like whatever. I have spent so much money on clothes and products and skincare and shit, and just given my life's earnings away to corporations, like literally, which is crazy. Like there should be so much more money in my bank account, but I have spent it on other, like I've filled the pockets of rich people. Like, I mean, obviously I haven't, but like I've contributed to a much larger mass of people who did that. And so my roommate is to just sit alone and like not do anything and like not buy anything and not go shopping and like be happy with what you have. Like that's a major part of it for me. Like look in your wardrobe, see what you have. Like that is really something that it's been an interesting journey as someone who famously really felt seen by Confessions of a Shopaholic as a 10-year-old. It's been very fascinating to not immediately lunge at items, which I've done my whole life. And if it really coincides with the political decline of our nation. So I feel like if you are feeling hopeless, you're feeling lost, I don't think there's anything bad about having more money in your pocket and having less things right now. And you know what, you're going to buy something from Target and the next day Target erases its DEI policies because it wants to be on Trump shit. Like, so it's like, don't support these companies ahead of them being horrible. Like you can actually skip a step and not boycott. You can just like not buy. Yeah. And that's where I'm at. That's my room at this week.
It's hard to follow.
What pies are we gonna talk about?
I'm like, what dessert am I going to talk about this week? I will say that I've gotten multiple people reach out to me that they have tried my apricot with the Parmesan cheese and a little bit of honey, and they're loving it. And I didn't realize it wasn't like actually a thing, but it's a nice little treat. But my room of this week, and maybe it's against Joe's, it's not spending money, but it is. We recently went out on, was it Friday night? I was like so not down to go out. There was something that came over me, and I think it's seasonal depression. But my room of this week is socializing and going out more. And I know that I do socialize a good amount. I know I do. But I think I recognized in moments that I have not really been out in a really long time. Like, because we go to events. We go to events all the time, and that is draining me.
It's not the same thing. Me.
But I do want to, like, whether it's it's Garrett, it's like other friends that I'm starting to become more friendly with. Like, I do want to say yes to socializing more in that aspect, because I'm 28, I'm young, I'm sexy, I'm having fun, and I know I'm going to look back in 20 years and say, why was I sitting my ass on that couch every single weekend when I could have been enjoying myself? But I was, down in the dumps. So yeah, my roommate, and you know what? When I go out, it doesn't have to be a binge night. It doesn't have to be drinking nonstop. Have one martini and sip it through the night if you're even drinking. And if you're not, that's also fine. You can have a conversation with people and be sober. We do it every single day. So that's my tea this week.
What good is sitting alone in your room? Come hear the music play. Life is a cabaret, old chum. It's only a cabaret.
All right. Well, it's crazy that we're doing this on the night of Indianapolis.
Oh my God. We'll see you guys tonight.
We'll see you guys tonight in Indianapolis, and tomorrow in Chicago, and Friday we'll see you in Madison, Wisconsin.
Last chance to get tickets, I guess, huh? So if this inspired you to show up
in Indiana, if this inspired you to show up in Indianapolis, Chicago, and Madison, maybe we'll do a full hour hit workout.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. And don't forget, for our Chicago show tomorrow, we're going to be joined by a twink and a redhead for our opening acts. And that'll be both the first show and the second show.
Yeah.
We'll see you there. Also, clock this tea. Anyone who bought the VIP meet and greet tickets, you're getting a tote bag. You're valued at $25.
And they're cute.
They're new tote bags.
New tote bags. Yeah. But that being said, don't forget to do your homework. Like, comment, subscribe, rate, review. Write a little something nice. Send it to your friend. and let people know we have a podcast. You know what I mean? Like, it's been going on for a while at this point. And we might have 20 million listeners, but there's, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, over 7 billion people in the world. So that's crazy.
I think that sounds right.
I think that's crazy. So like, I think by the end of this year, 1 billion streams.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And don't forget, you can join us on Patreon for a brand new bonus episode every single Thursday night at 8 p.m. EST.
I'm doing some book reports. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to educate Joe on things, and they're fun. And we also give you some inside scoops to what's happening in our lives currently, a little bit more than we share on the pod.
Very diaristic, very journalistic, very vulnerable, authentic, and real.
Yeah. Well,
better or for worse.
You know where to find us across all social media platforms at Good Children Pod. Sorry, guys, I'm logged out now because I got a new phone and no longer can be on TikTok until it's back in the App Store. But I am on Instagram at Andrew Muscarella.
And I'm on TikTok at Be Quiet Joe, and I am on Instagram at Joe Hegyes.
So, I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
I wish I could tie you up
in my shoes, make you feel I'm pretty too. I was told I was beautiful, but what does that mean to you? Look into the mirror, who's inside there? The one with the long hair. Same old me again today. My outsides are cool, my insides are blue. Every time I think I'm through, it's because of you. I tried different ways, but it's all the same. At the end of the day, I have myself to blame. I'm just tripping. You can buy your hair if it won't grow. You can fix your nose if you say so. You can buy all the makeup that Mac can make. But if you can't look inside you, find out who am I to be in a position to make me feel so damn unpretty. I feel pretty, but unpretty. This one deserves an award.